Hello, hello. I know I'm getting this done pretty late at night, and I know we're all still riding the high of Game of Thrones being all crazy, and I can't believe the season's almost over already. But I wanted to make sure I record this tonight and got this in while my thoughts are still fresh. So today I officially finished the Ultimate Reset. For those of you who haven't necessarily been following me or catching all of these videos and stuff, it's basically a 21-day cleanse, in the sense that you eat really clean, organic, natural, prepared, everything at home kind of food, and you drink distilled water, and basically consume a lot of the good things that your body needs to be able to digest properly, to absorb the most out of all the food that you consume, and to be able to detox your body as much as possible. Support your liver and support your kidneys in eliminating waste and harmful substances, especially if you've been eating crappy, or maybe you've been really stressed out, maybe you're recovering from injury. This program is really well suited for people just looking to get a clean slate and to kind of do a reset of your body and really remove a lot of things, and see, part of the idea is you can then start adding things back into your diet, and then you can see how you react to things. So if you're not sure, maybe you have a sensitivity to dairy, or maybe meat doesn't agree with you, maybe there's other food, maybe grains don't agree with you. This is a nice way to get to a point where you're eating basically fruits and veggies by the end, and you can start adding things in slowly afterwards and see how you feel. So, yeah, I kind of can't believe how quickly this went. When you think of 21 days, it sounds so long, like it's almost a month, it's going to take forever, especially of really, it's a very choreographed program that your meals are all set up, you're following a schedule with supplements and with what you're eating, and it sounds very structured, and it is, but it actually went by really quickly. It wasn't as hard as I thought it would be. So the Ultimate Reset has been around for years, and ever since it came out, I heard nothing but amazing things from people that did it, and people had amazing results. And I was always just curious about it. I read the clinical study that came out on it, and it's all been good, but it's a big investment. It's a big investment of time. It takes dedication. It's not something you can just half-ass, and you shouldn't. If you're investing this amount of money, and really if you want this for a good reason, you shouldn't half-ass it. You should full-ass it, right? So yeah, it went by a lot faster than I expected. It was a lot easier than I expected. I think a big part of that was, there was a good stretch of years where we were eating very clean, and it wasn't so hard to get back into some of that. This was obviously the cleanest I've ever eaten, but it really wasn't that difficult. And I think a big part of it, I was talking to my husband earlier about this, how, if you already eat pretty clean, even if it's some stretch of time, you have a sense of what vegetables you like, what kind of foods you don't like, what you respond well to, what you don't respond well to. It can really make it kind of easy, because you can tailor the meal plan to work for you, and you kind of know what to expect. I don't think there was a single thing other than seaweed that I hadn't eaten in some way before. So there wasn't anything new food-wise. Lots of new recipes, lots of new meal ideas, but not, the foods themselves weren't foreign to me in any way. But I could see being a much more dramatic, 3 weeks, if, say, you're used to eating fast food all the time, or you will eat a lot of processed food, a lot of, chips and sodas and deep fried things like that. I think it would be a much more dramatic shift, and I highly encourage people always to try as many of the meals as possible while making it still work for their budget. But it's obviously going to be different for every person, and I do think it can be a lot more of a dramatic shift if you are going from eating really crappy to all of a sudden eating super clean. Just something to be mindful of. Don't necessarily let that scare you off, because I'm going to recommend this to everybody, because there's just no reason not to do this. But obviously do it when it makes sense for you. And if you are going to be making a super dramatic change in your diet, it's probably worthwhile maybe taking a week or two before starting to kind of start clearing some crap out, like cut the sodas down a little bit, cut the sugar down a little bit, maybe skip the junk and the dessert, you know what I mean? Like, kind of prep yourself into it so that it's not as much cold turkey if you begin, like, all of a sudden on, Sunday you're eating like shit, and then Monday morning you start the Ultimate Reset. It might be too much of a shock. So whatever you can do in that way to make it easier for yourself, I highly recommend. Again, because we had been eating pretty well for years. This really wasn't as shocking as I expected. I loved a lot of the food. Hey Jonathan, thanks for joining. I loved a lot of the food. I'm already a big fan of a lot of vegetables. I won't go out of my way to eat them all the time, but I'm a big fan. And this introduced me to a lot of cool recipes for vegetables, which made it a lot more tasty and satisfying. Because I was definitely the type of person who, my full meal mentally always consists of a meat and, some grain or something and some vegetables. And taking the meat out of the equation and then taking the grains out of the equation, that was probably one of the things that intimidated me most, because I felt like I'm just gonna be eating salad all the time, and I hate lettuce, so that was like, I don't want to eat lettuce all the time. I don't think I ate lettuce once, so that's cool. But it taught me a lot of good, satisfying meals that are vegan, which was really, really exciting. My husband and I have talked a lot about going vegetarians, and like, we both love meat, we really do, but obviously we don't feel great about how where a lot of it comes from. And I think I can't guarantee that we would all of a sudden switch to being vegan or even vegetarian, but this has strengthened, I think, my I guess our ability to sort of transition towards that. It has made it a lot more enticing to try to go vegan or vegetarian at least several times a week. So even if we don't cut all of the meat out, if we cut our consumption by half, or down to a quarter, like, that's still, I think, a really good improvement. If, say, once or twice a week we eat meat and the rest of the time we're eating vegan meals, I think that's a really good step forward. And that's personally, I think, where we would feel comfortable transitioning. And again, like, this can be a different situation for everybody. And we'll see, too, as I'm adding food back in over the next few weeks, I'm going to see how my body reacts. And there's a chance, it's going to react poorly to things that I was just accustomed to eating. So that's obviously going to be very informative. But other than that, I'm kind of excited to not have to take supplements every single day. That part I probably won't miss. I did purchase a couple of the supplements to continue for a little while, because I think they made a big difference for me, and I'd like to at least have another couple weeks of getting them in my system, especially while I'm transitioning back into eating sort of more of my regular diet. I do want to stick to this sort of eating as much as possible, because I felt amazing the last 2 weeks especially. My energy's been good. I've been just feeling good. I feel like I've dropped a lot of fluff, and that feels really good. I saw the scale budge tremendously, way more than I expected. So that's been really, really exciting. So, the one thing most people ask, because this isn't a weight loss program, let me just say that. A lot of people do lose weight because a lot of people have crap to get out of their systems, and you're obviously eating super clean, so it's probably a little less food that you're used to in some sense, but it's also it's really good food that helps your body work optimally, so you're probably going to lose some weight that way. And some of it's just water weight, some of it is crap. It's not like you lose a ton of fat necessarily, because you're also not exercising. But with all that said, I did lose, so this is my unofficial, because tomorrow morning is technically my final weigh-in, but 10.6 pounds and 9 3/4 inches, which is like, because again, I expected maybe a few pounds, but not that degree. And the nice thing is, it hasn't been, like, it's kind of easier in your belly to lose weight at first, and again, it's water weight, things like that. But it's been cool that it kind of came from all over. When I add up the inches, it was little changes everywhere, so it was a whole body change, which is kind of what I want. And I kind of had the sense that I was losing it because I've been tracking my weight every single day, and I have to say the last couple of days it was a lot more dramatic than I expected, because earlier in week 3 I hadn't seen the scale move quite as much. I kind of figured, okay, this is probably where I'm just gonna finish up, and that's fine. But yeah, so it's nice because all my clothes fit better, and I'm feeling more like I am where I used to be. And most of all, I feel like my ability to control my food choices is totally back in my lap, and it's no longer about cravings, it's no longer about temptation. We went to a dinner party on Friday, and I didn't eat meat, I didn't have any treats, nothing like that. And I have to say, the coolest part of all this has been that, I know mentally that I love chocolate. I know mentally that tiramisu is amazing. I know mentally that, all these things that I like to eat are delicious and I love them, but I wasn't needing them. I wasn't feeling that drawing, like, oh my god, I have to have one. It wasn't like driving me crazy that I'm restraining myself from eating something that I enjoy. It was mentally, I knew this stuff is good and I love it, but I was fine with not having it. And that's probably one of the most rewarding aspects of this, is having that, I'm good. I can say no, and I'm good, and it's no big deal, and I feel fine. I'm not gonna go crazy thinking about that one donut or something. So, that's a really cool aspect. So sleeping better. My skin, my nails have been like I have to keep cutting them because they're growing like wildfire. And overall, just I feel really, really good. I feel clear. I feel focused. I feel like I haven't needed coffee. I drink herbal tea lately just because I like having warm things. You do get kind of tired of water. That's the other thing. I've been drinking about a gallon of water every single day, and that's been awesome because I've never been able to get myself to that point because, and again, it's more of a mental thing. I think I thought it was a lot, but if you're doing it with a certain schedule, it becomes so routine. You're not even thinking about it. Before you know it, by the end of the day, you've had a gallon, and you feel awesome because it keeps your system flushed, keeps your cells happy and functioning, and helps, again, flush all the bad stuff out, and keeps you hydrated, which means you're not retaining water. So all that good stuff. So yeah, overall, this 21-day experience has been challenging. A lot of cooking, a lot of cleaning dishes, a lot of prepping, a lot of planning, obviously purchasing a lot of food, but I would do it again in a heartbeat. You have to wait a while. You should probably not do this more than 4 times a year because it is a lot of work for your body. But I have to say, I'm so glad I finally pulled the trigger and did this. I'm loving my results. I love that I've basically gone back to the weight I was probably around December or January, which is awesome because it sort of puts me back in a place before a lot of stressful things happened. And it really hasn't been that hard. And even though we've upfront spent a fair bit of money on groceries, I just keep thinking all the times in the morning that I go to Dunk's or Starbucks, all the times I went out for lunch, us going out to bars and to restaurants several times a week. I mean, that stuff adds up. I don't know how much stuff costs around you, but going out to dinner and a couple of drinks around the Boston area, it's easily $50 for 2 people, easily. So spending $100 on groceries for the majority of a week for 2 people and not going out to all those meals, I mean, by the end of the 3 weeks, I know we've saved money, and that's pretty good too. So you're eating better, you're taking care of yourself, you're eating very healthy, you're supporting local produce, and you're not just wasting a bunch of money. So all in all, really good experience. Happy to have lost the weight that I've lost and be sort of back closer to where I'm really comfortable with my body, where I know my body's happiest. Learned awesome recipes. I plan to already use a bunch again next week and the week after that, and continue as much as we can. I'm curious to see how the reintroduction of some food goes. I know they say, wait probably at least 3 to 4 weeks before you introduce things like coffee or alcohol. Wait at least a couple weeks before you're introducing meat products and dairy. So I'm going to try to stick by that as much as I can. There are things that I want to go out and enjoy life, so I'm not going to limit myself too much, but a lot of it's going to be seeing how I feel because I don't want to make myself sick and I don't want to take 3 steps back, you know what I mean? So, yeah, I highly recommend this to anyone who wants to do it. It is a mental challenge. I do suggest planning at a good time where you won't be distracted, you won't be doing, not to say people can't do this while traveling and such, but just if you can avoid adding extra stress and challenge to it, then I think you may as well. I ended up pushing my start date by a couple weeks because I knew we would have a lot of stuff going on, and I just didn't want to, I don't want to screw this up. Because again, it is an investment, and if you're going to invest it and you're going to invest that time in yourself, do it 100% and make it worthwhile. So yeah, I'm thrilled that I did the Ultimate Reset. It's gone really well. It's a really great program, and if you take the time to do it right, you can get some amazing results, and even just amazing mental results. The control that you gain back over yourself is pretty incredible. So yeah, so thank you guys for checking out my video. Be sure to visit my YouTube channel. It's Team Ted Fitness. That's where I've been posting all the daily check-ins and all the videos, so you can get snippets of every single day and hear a little bit more in detail about each of those. Otherwise, thanks for watching this, and if you have any questions about this or really anything fitness and health related that I can maybe help you out with, please let me know. So, you guys have a good night.